Welcome to the BXG Podcast, the podcast where pop culture and nerd culture meet.
You think it's just going to be barbecue sauce?
Because if you actually read those books, it's just gobbledygook.
I really think clothes should be mandatory.
Speaking of Star Wars,
Captain America.
trailer reaction video. Welcome to a BXG Productions review. I am one of your hosts, the Alpha Donut Guy, Brent Beswick, alongside my co-host, Gregory T. Filson, and the T is for Sarah.
I thought it was going to be Tulsa, but
Yeah.
that's good.
Episode 2 of PBC. I think what we're going to do here is this will be a video. It'll publish probably the same day that episode 3 goes up for their YouTube, but for the sake of timeliness, we're going to do our video review for episode 2, and then we will have episode 3 on Friday, but also both of them will be in the podcast. So if you're watching this, the audio version, if that all makes sense, I'll do some cuts.
Listen to our podcast, watch the YouTube of the podcast, and watch the show, and then you'll figure it out.
Right.
Easiest way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds accurate. But PBC episode 2, written by Christian A. Pierce, so written by Hunter.
Yeah.
And this episode is all about him not being okay with how Sarah treated him, and also Sarah in her new position, introducing a new way to tabulate expenses and expense reports and stuff like that will streamline with synergy and efficiency. And that was a funny thing that they did with that commercial. But also poisoning with the most ridiculous allergy, but we'll get into that. As a whole, what did you think? But I actually go ahead. You go.
I don't think I've laughed as hard on any of the episodes until this one had me going. I will say this: the Jamie cold intros, just keep doing it. I like it. I know the season's already done and they've done it, but
right,
it's hilarious where he calls the sheriff by first name. It's Jamie, yeah, heading towards the 170, and she's mad. And it's like, did you, and then and then shaming him. It's a car,
yeah,
and it's just those cold intros are incredible. I mean, all these kind of shows, the talk to your camera, whatever. They all do those colds, and those are very important. But it's always something different. The Jamie with the Tulsa is now one of my favorite things. And it's 2 episodes in, and I love it. This is so funny. And, he's still not a part of the show.
And that's actually that's where I was going to jump in. And the point that I was going to say, I hope the entire season, Jamie doesn't have a meaningful interaction with any other character.
No.
And it's
the meaningful characters is Tulsa.
And the more, the longer the season goes on, just the more and more disheveled.
The shorts are ripped,
the shorts are uneven, cut off uneven. And I guess he did already have a meaningful interaction with Dave when Dave offers him donuts and he says, "You son of a bitch."
Bitch. So good. It's just it reminds me of peak Office or peak Parks and Rec, where there was a part of the show that literally had nothing to do with anything else, but it was the thing that stuck with you the most. It was like a Jerry encounter, or it was just one of those things where the rest of the storyline doesn't matter.
Right.
This is what matters to me. I was just, but it's not too much. It's just enough of him struggling with this car, and it's so funny. And he's so good at it. He reminds me of a Always Sunny in Philadelphia kind of act too, where it's just so stressful.
Yeah.
But you don't care. And no one cares about him either. Like, it's just so funny how little no one cares about him. Like, I love it. So the opening's great. I didn't stop laughing. It was one of those ones where it was beat by beat, just trying to make you laugh. The commercial, we've seen those commercials 1,000 times, and they're always funny. So to just play on that is absolutely great. And then him getting sick off glutenless foods, I was done. I had to pause it because I was laughing so hard.
That could be me.
I couldn't stop laughing. Yeah,
I could see that. Like, that could be me. Because I have so much sugar.
And it's just like, he needs gluten. He needs gluten. What are you doing? It's just so funny, and it just, it's for pound, this was such a funny episode with like the plot line meaning something, but ultimately meaning nothing. And I thought the emo thing was going to be and it was still a big thing. Like Hunter's thing, he wrote the episode.
Yeah.
But it is actually more of a background thing that is actually really funny in the sense of like, it still makes sense and it still is a major point. But because the glutenless thing was so funny, it was just, it's how someone writes a show where like you write it to make yourself a character, but not to be like so hyper focused that you kind of annoyed by it. When he did this song,
that was a perfect song. That
perfect
song was
perfect.
It was like this.
I was looking it up on my Apple Music, and I was like, "Is it out yet?"
Yeah, it was like the perfect play on those sort of like Linkin Park,
Sum
Good
41.
Charlotte. Sum 41's a little bit more.
They're a little hard, a little different, I guess.
Good Charlotte. What's the other one that I'm thinking of? It's like a little bit harder than Fall Out Boy or not Panic at the Disco. Oh God,
all those bands. All those bands. They're
all the same
together. Yeah.
Well, Panic at the Disco, and this is a completely different altogether.
I mean,
the Panic at the Disco ended up being Mars Volta and Sparta. That's a whole. But like, who sings? Oh wow, I'm so upset with myself right now. It's like the band that's like the exact same thing as Fall Out Boy. As soon as who sings
I would say like I know
High Hopes.
I was a
who sings High Hopes?
I don't even know.
High Hopes.
Oh, High Hopes is Panic at the Disco.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. High Hopes is Panic at the Disco.
Okay. Maybe I'm not thinking of Panic at the Disco. Now I'm going to be upset like all night. At the Drive-In.
Oh,
At the Drive-In is who.
Holy shit! I forgot that Drive-In existed.
At the Drive-In was who Mars Volta and Sparta split off to be, but whatever.
That's right.
That's neither here nor there. But yeah, like Panic at the Disco, whatever. But then if you listen to the actual, we saw them. They opened for Chili Peppers.
We did, yeah.
That song, if you listen to the lyrics too, they're like, it's like all accounting terminology.
Yeah, it's so good.
It was really funny. And then the video, like the music video after the credits was really funny. And then his breakdown of like who the band members were also funny. Extremely funny. So yeah, just tip to tail, hilarious episode. The Jamie stuff is great. I just don't want him to have like an actual conversation.
I want nothing meaningful.
Nothing.
Nope, nothing meaningful. It
meaningful?
could be like.
Did you say meaningful?
Yeah, this is meaningful.
Meaningful.
I can't
talk.
talk.
Help you out there?
I can't say it. It's one of those words I can't say right now. Sorry.
You have a spoonful of cinnamon?
I wish I did. I need something. I have had a bad sinus thing that affects all. Like my balance is bad too.
Oh man, now you got vertigo.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't want him to have anything that happens that's important to the rest of the show, other than him being ridiculous, because it's so funny.
He's like it's so funny. Some bizarre combination of like Toby. He's like a bizarre combination of like Toby Flenderson from The Office with like a little bit of the self-loathing of George Costanza. Like
And
it's a-
Charlie Day on
Yeah.
Always Sunny, like
His-
that's good too. Yeah,
his character is so well written, so well written.
so good, so great.
Yeah. But I
I
do
like
think
looking at, but just as I like looking at punk rock bands, and it's always
Oof.
like like 20 years. That's how long they last. Because it was
Yeah.
like they were 15 and then they were 35, and they're like, nope, no
Yeah.
more of this. And then 9 years in between there of like we didn't like each other, but we made music because we made kind of money. So
yeah.
but no FX still around though. Good for them.
No effects. I feel like I know one of their songs. Anyway, that's a tangent. That's a whole nother thing.
It is a tangent. Well, it's sort of a tangent, but it was kind of what the music is based off of. But
The only thing, and this is probably going to be, well, I was going to say this is going to be an ongoing complaint, but they seem to be doing a good job of balancing. Like, I'd like more Danny Trejo. I think,
sure. But when he comes in,
hold
it's
on,
so perfect.
hold on. But I think that they're kind of balancing out him with having more Kate Flannery, at least so far this season, than they did last season.
Sure.
And I think that sort of, you're getting a little bit of the two characters that are maybe, or actors that are maybe a little bit more well-known just based on, I mean, Danny Trejo is a freaking movie star, but
Right.
you know, Kate Flannery was in The Office, whatever, but I just like them peppering them in here and there.
More Michaela this season too, which I like because she's funny. Like the
Yeah.
actress that does her is very like straight,
Yeah.
but very funny,
Amy-
and I really
Amy
like that.
Letcher.
Yeah, Amy Letcher. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
so good. It's like she comes on, she's very like the outfit today was hilarious with like all the buttons.
Yeah.
I like today when I watched the
Yeah.
Friday episode, but when
Friday
I watched
episode.
it,
Yeah.
just all the buttons of like all the feminist things, just so
Mhm.
funny, and she's just so aggressive. It's so great. Yeah, this show is not the Dave segment. It was maybe 10 seconds of Dave. That could also just be a thing. 10 seconds of Dave. He just
Yeah. There seems to be less of him so far.
which I think it's like he's got too much going on at home.
Well, he's got all these kids.
12 kids or whatever.
I
It's
thought
great.
about.
It's a funny show. It's so funny. We need it. We need artists in our life.
I think that I did a lot of thinking. We watched the Friday or the last Tuesday's episode, and then we reviewed it Thursday, and you know, and I thought a lot about this show over the weekend. And the thing that I determined about this is that I think that networks, not networks like CBS or NBC, whatever, I think these platforms like Prime, Hulu, Netflix should be terrified of shows like this. And I don't mean necessarily PBC per se. But what I mean by that is the people who made this are not beholden to anyone other than themselves.
No. Right.
And I think that is, you know, we watch Blockbuster. This is better than Blockbuster, right?
By a million miles.
Way better than
A
Blockbuster.
million miles.
And
yeah.
here's the thing. How much do you think this cost versus Blockbuster? Blockbuster ain't getting another season. I can tell you that.
Nope.
There's no way that show's going to get another season.
Nope.
And so I feel like when things like this gain steam and catch on, and people can say, I can make something that's really, really good and really funny and really well written, and it doesn't have to be, you know, we're not beholden to Netflix or their holding companies. We're not beholden to the studio deals with like Hulu, whatever. Excuse me. And maybe they took this to that. I don't know. We don't know the inner workings, but I think that this show shows, and others that are out there, but this one, as far as what we watch and review, this shows that you can go pave your own way, bet on yourself to a degree. Just
Stevie
on,
Nicks voice.
I don't know what that means. Just on YouTube and have success. I mean, this is an award-winning show. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so if I'm some of these
Christy McVie. Sorry.
I still don't know what it means, but I think if you look at these creators that say, okay, well, you know, we can have just as much success and we can have multiple seasons and we could do whatever we want. We could do whatever we want. Like no one is over them saying you have to write this joke. This character has to have this arc. There have to be this many check boxes, but there's no, like, it's not overproduced. And I think that that's really important. And I think the more that different creators kind of see that there is an avenue for success here, I think that you're going to see people leave places like Netflix. And there was a report today that Netflix is going to focus on their blockbusters and they're going to make less things of more quality, which is probably a good thing, because I do think with Netflix and maybe Hulu and Prime a little bit, there is almost like a race to the bottom type aspect where you see things that are just not very good. But then the other thing is you see like Lord of the Rings, and obviously these are two vastly different things, right? But they spent $500 million on Lord of the Rings. And who's to say that somebody can't write a compelling story, use practical effects, and make something that's equally compelling with that property versus the CG fuckery that we saw on Amazon?
I would just say, and I've never watched The Witcher, but I'm just going to say, like, comparatively speaking, The Witcher compared to something like Witcher, people love it. Critically acclaimed. It's one of those things. I mean, like the fact that Henry Cavill is leaving it becomes a thing. No one gives a flying crap about what happens with the next season of the Lord of the Rings show. You know, it's like I always forget the name of the show is called Power of the Rings. That's another thing. Like
Rings of Power.
Rings of Power.
You didn't even get it. Yeah,
I didn't even get it because I don't care. Once we were done with it, it was like whatever. And it's like I haven't even watched The Witcher, and I just brought up top. I wasn't even thinking about it. And you said this, and it's like I don't even watch it, and I may like it, I don't know. But it's one of those things where it's like there is this idea of like, oh, do you care about being more creative, or do you care about like, because you might not even make money. That's the thing. You can spend a lot of it. Just because you spend a lot of money doesn't mean you make a lot of money.
Black Adam.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just one of those things where like, we're not saying like the PBC show makes a ton of money, but at least they're doing something that
it's theirs.
You know, it's theirs.
It's 100%
like,
theirs.
They agree that they like it. They like doing it because they don't have to do it. It's not a thing where like they're contractually obligated. It's none of this stuff. It's not like the Friends deal where it's like, you need to pay us $25 million a year and put out a crappy 9th season of this stupid show that millennials or Gen Zers will like 20 years from now. It's like, this show is good, probably doesn't cost that much to make, and you get to like have this as your like on your resume going forward to do bigger, because you want to do bigger things. I mean, I don't think we want to go out there and like do different bigger things, but like this is the stepping stone. And I think for me it's like, I would like to have tons of money. I get that. But there is also that creative edge of like, do you want to lose that because you just want to like make something with a ton of money? And it's a very interesting path to see what will happen, because I do think a show, like you said, maybe it's not PBC that breaks the border. But there's going to be stuff that will probably do it at some point.
Cobra Kai was originally a YouTube Red thing, and I don't think that necessarily counts, and obviously that moved to Netflix, but I just think that at some point, I think that this is like the proof is in the pudding in terms of quality, because this is a high quality show. And like you said, we watched Blockbuster, we did the trailer reaction, we thought this has a lot of potential. We watched the show, it did not fulfill that potential, and there's like star power behind that. You know, there's this is from the people who wrote Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It's Randall Park. It's, you know, these different characters, and it flopped. And you know, this is something that it's inspired, obviously, in part by like The Office and Parks and Rec and shows like that, but I just keep coming back to the fact that they can do whatever they want with this.
Yeah.
and they
It's
don't
cool. It's
have
cool to
to.
do this.
Yeah, it's very cool. And, we obviously we really enjoy it and we keep coming back to it. But I think that like I said, it may be this, it may not, it could be, but I think at some point someone is going to make something and it's going to go straight to YouTube. It's going to skip Hulu, Prime, HBO, Netflix, Peacock, Paramount, Tubi, all these different streaming services, Roku channel, and just go straight to YouTube. And it's going to be Emmy quality.
Yep.
And people
100%.
are going to go, oh shit, we can do whatever we want and put it on here.
Yeah.
And it's just, we just get to make whatever we want. And I just think, like you said, the creative edge or the desire to make your own thing without the limitations of the suits, essentially, is really, it's going to continue to get more and more enticing for people.
For sure.
think that that's a big reason why you see a lot of celebrities doing like podcasts and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like
do what you want.
do whatever we want. And I think that is a big draw.
That's why we did it.
Kind of. We also didn't have anything else going on. So.
But
anyway.
What if we did?
Yeah, but we don't. So there's that. But with that being said, and I know that kind of took a left turn.
But it didn't, because I think this show is kind of a good example of that, like of what you can do. Because this show is funny. Like it's good. It's a good and funny show. It's not just funny,
right?
And it's not just good. It is actually both things, which is hard. It is hard. I can't think of too many shows. Like I mentioned Abbott Elementary a lot. That's about it for me. That is like there are other shows that are like dramedies,
sure,
but I can't count those. I'm talking where your idea is to be funny and your idea is also to be good. That's actually hard to do. That is a hard thing to do, because comedy is the hardest thing you do. Everybody will say, Shakespeare will tell you. He'll go back and tell you it's tough.
Will he go back and tell us, or?
Well, we'll go back and tell him. We'll ask him, and he'll be like, "Oh, I wasn't even the one who wrote these. You got to talk to this guy."
Right.
I just had as the old story.
What's your favorite Shakespeare? What's your favorite?
I always go back and forth. Midsummer Night's Dream is probably my favorite because it's the funniest. It's actually the funniest, and if it's acted out well, it's laugh out loud funny.
Yeah,
it actually is. What about you, Brendan? I also like the King Henry. Macbeth is good.
Yeah, Macbeth.
I like the King Henry's.
Not the one with Denzel. They talk too fast.
They do talk very fast.
I've heard that
it was supposed to be. I've heard that the original thing was that they were supposed to talk fast because it was cold. Did you know that?
No.
It was outside.
It was listen to the thous, and I think we talked about that. I watched probably a half an hour. I was like, okay, they're talking real fast with their the thous, and it's in black and white. I get it. It's good. Let's move on.
I like King Henry stuff too, because I actually find all that stuff hilarious, even though it's dark and grim. And I was just like, Midsummer Night's Dream.
Yeah,
good.
And with that,
check that out for your media recommendation. A little extra media recommendation. Check that out. Very good. A fun read. Yeah.
It's Midsummer Night's Dream. Is it Midsummer Night's Dream, or is it just Midsummer Nights?
Midsummer Night's Dream.
Okay.
Midsummer Nights. Down.
The Taming of the Shrew.
That's also
As
good.
You
They're
like
all
it.
good. I will say
they?
Shakespeare, hitmaker. Bangers all the way.
Yeah. Some would say the James Cameron of his time.
No, he made just good all the time.
Oh, it wasn't just sequels?
It wasn't just 20 years in between.
13. 13 years in between. Yeah, whatever.
13 years. No, great. Next podcast, we're going to rank our top 20 Shakespeare plays.
Can't wait. A little Hamlet.
Hell yeah. To be or not to be XG? That is the question.
Well done. If we did our job well, ring the bell. Check out PBC on YouTube. Episode 2 is live. Episode 3 will be live by the time this publishes. Check that out. Very funny, very well written, incredibly talented people involved with this show. And we can't wait to see more. So
Yeah.
episode 3. If we did our job well, ring the bell and give us a like, subscribe, share. Subscribe, make yourself public so you can be entered in a giveaway. It's a surprise giveaway at 150. So keep that in mind and enjoy your day, night,
Enjoy
whatever.
it.
Yeah, enjoy
everything.
Yep. Excuse me, fake news. The people, they've sold me. Take care.